Hi everybody, Colette Elliott here. Just want to do a quick video on something that's really troubled me today, really bad. Today was the sentencing of the parents of baby Finlay Bowden. Quick background on the story is Finlay was taken off his parents at birth, placed into social services care, um, simply because the parents had habitual drug habits. The house was unkempt, it was disgusting, it was vile, it smelled. So the parents, for some unknown reason, decided to fight for their son, did everything they could, and invited social services round to the house. Social services went round, seeing that the house was immaculate. It was just impeccable. And one visit, that's all they did, was one visit, and then it went back to court, and the judge decided to allow Finlay back with his parents. No sooner was he back, he was placed back with his parents in November, November 17th, 2020. Within a month, baby Finlay died. He had broken ribs, he had fractures, he had broken bones, he had burn marks, he had bruises. He was tortured by two sadistic people that should have been looking after him, not doing what they did. My stance on this is, personally, I was a child of social services, as you know. I was taken off my mother when I was 2 months old because I was failing to thrive. She was neglecting me, not just emotionally, physically, but also she wasn't feeding me. So social services, in their infinite wisdom, decided that I had to stay in hospital, which was fine. And then when I was up to my target weight, they released me back into my mother's care. Within months, I was back in hospital again, same story, and then again, I was sent back to my mother's care. And this continued throughout. As I got a bit older, I'd fallen out of a window, I was left to wander the streets on my own of a night. She'd leave me because she was a prostitute, and obviously our working hours are evenings, so I'd just be left to wander around on my own. Neighbours and family tried to step in, but social services, because they couldn't get in to see me or speak to my mum because she refused to answer the door, they just left it. The times that I was taken off her, I was placed with foster parents, and every time my mum got a new boyfriend, I was allowed to go back home with my mum, to my mum, and to whatever new partner she had. Now, bearing in mind, these partners, as I've read in my social work files, were either waiting to come out of prison or had just come out of prison and was said to be able to give me a stable life as long as they stayed with my mum. I don't know what these people were in prison for, but there was a few of them. She even married one for 6 weeks. She was married to him for 6 weeks just to get me out of care. Now, I've always wondered why. Why did she fight for me to come out of care? She didn't want me. She didn't love me. She didn't respect me. You know, she beat me. She was vile. She was horrible. And so was my stepdad. Again, somebody that social services at first saw fit to be able to be somebody that would bring me up. But when you read in my files, my mother does state to social services that she's scared of my stepdad and how he used to punish me for just the slightest thing. And in the record, social services did tell her that she had to get rid of him or I'd be taken away. So she said everything she needed to say, she did everything she needed to do as far as social services were concerned. Social services would come round in the day, my stepdad would be at work, so as far as they were concerned, it was just me and my mum in the house. They'd never come round on an evening, they never turned up unannounced. When they did turn up, half the time my mother wouldn't open the door. They knew that I was in there because they could hear me. There was a time when they did get into the flat where we were living and just found a sea of naked bodies in the living room, and I was amongst them all. But again, I wasn't taken off my mum. I was left in that situation. And, you know, the pattern just went on and on and on. Like I said, I don't understand why my mum fought to keep me, because she never wanted me. And later on in my files, I read that she wanted to get rid of me back to social services. She wanted social services to take me, but by this point, I was too old for social services, so they didn't want me. They didn't care. What really, really, really bothers me is when I was first taken from my mum, I was 2 months old. I'm now 46. So, 46 years, this has still been going on with social services. They are still failing children. They are listening to parents without getting any proof of what they're saying. When I say that, baby Finlay, social services had gone round to do a check on him, and they were told that Finlay had COVID. So social services was like, okay, no problem, we'll come back on another day at another time to come back and see you. On that day, the parents took baby Finlay out, made sure there wasn't in the property when social services turned up, and therefore it was marked down as an absence. Like I said, baby Finlay was given back to them November 17th. By December 25th, that little boy was dead. He was back in the clutches of I can't call them parents because they're not, these evil, sadistic, demonic individuals. They'd killed this baby within a month. They burned him, they broke his bones, they fractured, they unimaginable things they did to this child. Like I say, 46 years on, I'm reading the same stories as what happened to me. This is where social services need to start really like looking at themselves and start thinking of new ways of doing things now, because you can't just take. I thought everybody had learnt their lesson from Baby P when Mom covered Baby P's face in chocolate, so when social services went round there, they didn't see the bruises or the bite marks or anything like that because he was just covered in chocolate. And social services, instead of saying, can we have a wipe to wipe his face, and no, left him, thought he was happy. That little boy got killed by his mother and by her partner, if I remember correctly. This really, 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 it's really triggered something, because we've had another case today, which is Jacob Lennon. He was a 15-month-old little boy. Mom and stepdad both well, I don't know both, but I know that stepdad Jake Drummond was a known cocaine taker. When they killed this little boy, when the medics got there, they said that his eyes were that swollen he couldn't open his eyes and he looked like a panda. They said that his face, his body, his genitals, he'd been severely tortured. And I'm not saying beaten, he was tortured. And to prove that, the dad actually sent the mom a message saying that he was going to be putting Jacob in the torture chamber. And another message read, he looks like a madman with bruises. This little boy was also under social services. He was under a child protection plan. He was put on this child protection plan December 2018. The abuse started, as far as we know, from August 2019. But when I say, he was tortured, this little boy was. There wasn't a part on his body that wasn't touched by these two, again, evil, sadistic individuals. Jake Drummond got life, and with the minimum term of... Sorry, I thought I had it. So yeah, they had life with the minimum term of 32 years. The mom got 10 years. Now, she got 10 years for allowing this man to kill her child. Personally, I think that she too should be done for murder. She may as well have put her hands on her son herself. That's the way I look at it. He was shook violently. Like I say, his whole body was just completely... But the thing that killed him was one night, Jake Drummond had a row with his ex-partner because he had previous in domestic violence. So he'd had a row with his ex that day. So that evening, he went into the bedroom, dragged little Jacob out of his bed, shook him violently, and then threw him, punching him. And it was the blunt force trauma to his head that killed him. But again, like I said, this boy was under social services, but this boy was under a child protection plan. So I don't understand how they got away with it for so long. And this is a question I want to know. Why are social services still, to this day, still letting these children down? Why? I get so angry and so frustrated, and I get angry with the government because the government have got to play a part in this they've played a part in this as well. We know that social services are overstretched. We understand that. We understand that they can't keep following up on every single case, because if they do, they've already got a backload, so this is where the government needs to stand in, and they need to start recruiting more social workers, or set up another agency that can help social workers. Everybody needs to be working together, as far as the child is concerned. And when that child comes to social services, as soon as that name is raised, even once, that child should be kept an eye on, especially if they're under a child protection plan. Being under a child protection plan should actually be that, child protection, but they failed him to. So, right now I'm a bit angry because, like I said, it happened to me many, many years ago, but it's still happening today, and I just can't get my head around it, to be honest, that these parents are allowing other people to kill their children, or even themselves killing their children. I can't fathom it. I really can't, and I don't think I ever will. So yeah, that's my little bit of a rant. It's gone on for 16 minutes. I'm really, really sorry, but I needed to get this out because it's a lot. There's a lot of triggers there. So yeah, if you've got any thoughts or anything on what I've talked about, please do leave a message or contact me on Facebook, Twitter, either Instagram. I'm on all of them. Thank you for listening to me have a rant, and yeah, let's see what happens now.